So, Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told, officially aired on Hulu streaming last night. And I'm your boy Lee Black to talk about the review. In case you don't know, I'm the host of Real Talk for Real Men, and I'm also the voice of TFG Ratchet. So please subscribe to my channels and also hit those notification bells because I talk about all types of shit that's relevant to the culture from a ratchet perspective and from relationships. So let's get into it, folks. I was both simultaneously impressed and disappointed with the documentary in general. On the one hand, I thought it did a really, really good job in telling the story of Freaknik from its inception to its demise. I really, really, and truly enjoyed how it really laid out the concept of how it started basically as a celebration for Black college students who were not able to go home. So, in essence, it was an opportunity for those who did not go to spring break. And as we know, normally spring breakers go to Florida, Miami Beach, Daytona, things like that. And so, as we know, especially in Black communities, not everybody's able to go home. So, this was literally started just as a simple idea to celebrate, and have a picnic and combine it with an opportunity to have a little bit of fun. I really loved how they were able to tie in pop culture, specifically Black pop culture, and some of the things that, was able to elevate this event and make it an entity. I love the part where they talked about Different World, for example, and how that was able to really showcase HBCUs and that aided in its recruitment and enrollment of Black students and the whole fraternity, because right here in Atlanta, this is the mecca not only of Black love, Black power, Black excellence, but it also is the mecca of HBCUs. And so I really love how they told that story. And you got to see the founding members and how they were able to really come up with this idea, but it also really talked about the evolution of Freaknik and what it became. Now, we all know that anytime you put a bunch of young people together, where there is partying, drinking, music, rap was really coming into its own right here in the Mecca of Atlanta, because at that time the rap scene was underground and it really showcased people like the Goody Mob, and you saw Big Boy and Andre 3000 from Outkast and some of the underground rappers. They weren't known at this time, but there was an underground scene that was brewing. And so all of these things were able to converge at one time. And now you've got the perfect mix for what Freaknik became. Music, drinking, lascivious behavior, young people, unchaperoned, doing what young people do. You add to that the fact that it had grown in its popularity, and now you are bringing in Black people from all of the surrounding areas. Some people traveling as far as 500-600 miles to come see what was happening in Atlanta. And so it grew to be, something that initially was just fun and Black people enjoying themselves, young people feeling that sense of freedom. It was our version of Woodstock. But then, of course, anytime you have unchaperoned events, you've got music, stagnated traffic. It turned into the ugly side of what can happen when you have young people together. And for the record, folks, this is not a Black thing. This happens anywhere, USA, where there are young people. The same thing happens in Daytona Beach. The same thing happens in Orlando. The same thing happens even in other countries. But it did become ugly, and it really showcased the ugly side of the unwanted attention that women invited, whether willingly or knowingly, but it turned into something where there was assaults, rapes, things like that. And you got to remember, this was a time when Me Too wasn't a thing. Now you had Atlanta being the host of the '96 Olympics, and they were faced with an economic decision where they had it. I love how they pointed out that it became a decision of money, economics, and I love what the one of the guys said in the movie, that it became about big bank taking little bank, and ultimately Freaknik was disbanded because, in when you start thinking about the interests of what it had done to the city, and it was starting to mar the reputation, particularly when Atlanta was now on the rise and to becoming what it is today. The black mecca of excellence, power, decadence, and success for black people. I personally live right here in Atlanta, so I can speak to it. In fact, I live in Buckhead and literally 10 minutes away from everything that was happening. I am also a 56-year-old individual that participated at that time in Freaknik, being there live in person, and that's where my disappointment comes in. It did give you snippets and little snippets of what was happening, but I don't truly believe that it captured the real essence of what was going on. And for that, I was disappointed. Not to say that I wanted it to be X-rated, but I think in many ways it was whitewashed. And I think in many ways the documentary served as somewhat of a PR for Atlanta, for Jermaine Dupri, Luke, and 21 Savage, to basically showcase that Atlanta has its place in music and rap and now being on the scene. I thought it was more of that than really telling us about Freaknik itself. At that time, and I was attending Freaknik back when I was in my 20s, and I can tell you, it did not even come close to capturing what was really happening. Now, with that said, young people are going to do what young people do. When you got a bunch of young women that was really shaking that ass, doing their thing, I enjoyed every last moment of it. I love the fact that this showcased black women and men at a time before all of this Brazilian butt lift shit, before time of all of the fake hair, when fashion, had its proper place. I really enjoyed that part, but I wish they had shown a lot more of that. So I'm being very reserved in my review because I definitely want to encourage you to watch it so that you can have an idea about what Freaknik, how it started, what the origination was. But if you're really wanting to know truly, truly, truly the things that was behind it, this is not going to do that, folks. This very much was a letdown for those young women out there who was afraid that, oh my God, I'm a wife and then I'm a mom and a grandmom now, and this is gonna. It didn't do any of that. It really showed young people being young people. You could have filmed, what they showed today. You could go on Piedmont Street, later this afternoon and go to some parking lots where they got music, and you're gonna see the exact same thing. It didn't really show anything, I don't believe, that embarrassed anybody to such a degree that they was trying to prevent them from this documentary from happening. Anyway, I'm your boy Lee Black, and that's my review. Overall, it was a decent watch. I thought it was a decent documentary, but in some ways I was let down. Having said that, I am definitely going to have a deeper conversation about this on my own show, Real Talk for Real Men, because some of the underlying things I think are important to talk about. Me Too, the changes and evolution that we've seen in black women and how they dress, how they dance, how they act, black men and what we like and what we consider to be attractive, and just the relationship between young people, black and in general, I think is worth having a longer, deeper conversation because that evolution is far greater than just the fact that this celebration was at its demise. We are at a completely different place in terms of how we have fun, interact with each other, the incorporation of music, and just in general. So that I want to talk about on Real Talk for Real Men. So stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a show on that. Anyway, I'm your boy Lee Black. Please keep tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Real Talk for Real Men. Don't forget to subscribe to TFG Ratchet. Definitely hit the notification bell because I'm going to keep you updated on all things Ratchet. Anyway, back to the drawing board. Peace.